fail and succeed together. And when I say that, I don't just mean the technical team. The business team is invested in the solution as well. And this is a really hard thing because we've gotten into the IT world, we've gotten into this idea that a business team comes to you and they give you your problem. They give you their problem. They give you their problem and you have to solve it. It's like a mechanic at a shop. Hey, I got a knock under my hood, go fix it. But that's not the way IT projects work. We're working for the business, and in order to solve the problem for them, we've got to understand it, and they've got to partner with us. So if we fail, don't they fail too? If we're building an important system for them and it doesn't work, and we fail, they have not gotten their important system. Make sense? Okay. I love, by the way, first of all, I think providing training is important, and I think face-to-face communication is incredibly important. We use cameras like crazy at Nelnet. I love it. We made it mandatory on our team that you use a camera during our daily stand-up meetings so that we can see you. It improves the communication you can get is so much better by understanding body language and facial expressions. Just knowing what somebody looks like. Assuming they're not, in a robe and wearing a baseball cap. So number 2 is collaboration. Focus, collaboration, and experimentation. If you can enhance these 3 things in your teams, you're going to see better innovation. So when we talk about experimentation, we need to talk about defending team failures. It's super important to defend team failure. Because if your team takes a risk and you throw them under the bus, they will never take another risk again. If I embarrassed one of you people who raised your hand and volunteered your story, no one else in this room is raising their hand, right? We want to encourage small experiments too. And this is really important for me, particularly when you think about research in a technical arena. If you're trying to do something new and different, we recently we adopted TFS, which is a tool that helps us deploy code and manage projects. So when we wanted to do that, we wanted to take small bites at it. Let's give it a try. If I didn't let them try it, or my boss didn't let them try it, then we would never have gotten there. They had to do it in small pieces. Then we had to ask for help. Then we paired people together. We asked for people from other parts of the organization for help. So small experiments are really important. And then establish boundaries. I love to use time boxes. Do you guys all know what a time box is? Set a time limit or duration. I mean, let me tell you, I worked with programmers for a long time. If you tell a programmer to do a research task, they will set off on that task for a month if you let them do it. Because research is never ending. I'm researching that problem. So give them a time box with which to do it. Give them a time box with which to do it, and then set a goal for it. Go out and check this thing out and come back with a recommendation about whether to continue to look into it or to abandon it altogether. You don't need to have the solution when you come back. So, again, innovation happens when your teams feel safe. If we want to improve, we've got to innovate. If we want to innovate, we've got to create safe ways for our teams to do it. We've got to invest in them, first and foremost. Provide them with focus, encourage them to collaborate, and encourage them to experiment. So I finished a little bit early, which gives time for questions. Questions, thoughts? Criticism? Who's doing this already on their teams? How do you encourage your teams to experiment? Is anybody doing small experiments to improve?
I mean, me just being in the new environment is
Some people may say being here is a way of improving. All right, well, thanks a lot, I guess. Question?
Not so much a question, but a small experiment, I guess, that the accessibility team at Nelnet is doing is we're looking into ways of automating some of our accessibility testing so that we can get a report to the team with more information without having to put our
Yeah, automated testing is definitely one of those ways that your teams can feel safe to experiment. Because if you've got a really long testing process, then every time you make that experimental change, you've got to go through this long testing process. So that's one of those ways for sure that you can continue to make your teams feel safer. How about automated deployment? Anybody doing automated deployments? Yes, no? No, I got one nod down.
As much as we can.
Yeah, that's another experiment our team is undertaking, is automated deployments. Trying to remove the chance for manual errors as we copy files from development to test to prod. How else? Anybody else got an experiment that they're working on? Something to improve their team? Is anybody trying to improve? Does anybody have an initiative where they are trying to improve their team today and make it ship? Something you're doing to improve your team? Teresa?
Something one of my teams has been doing for a while now is called First Friday. So the first Friday of every sprint is set aside for innovation and experimentation and personal development. So like if people want to learn more about a development practice or tool or anything they need to do to just personally develop themselves, they can use that First Friday. And so it's been working pretty well for our team. We have an automated testing solution that's come out of First Friday that they've been able to just focus on and get it to work for them. Now they're continually building on it. So it just gives them some space to maybe dig into some stuff where the pressures of the sprint aren't moving to them. So we've been doing this about 9 months. So.
Did everybody hear her okay? Yeah, it actually reminds me of something that we did. I worked at the Nebraska Department of Transportation for a long time. And one of the best project teams I ever worked on was in state government, believe it or not. And one of the things that team did is every Friday they did training. They would set aside 2 hours on Friday morning and they would do a training. And the team lead would set up some sort of a training. So, for example, they wanted to upgrade from Visual Studio, I don't remember which version, Visual Studio 2010 probably to 2013. And so they set aside training and time to experiment and figure out how to do that. But the key thing about this was that one of the project that they were working on, the business that they were working with, had to give them the time to do that. And it was interesting because that business team, of course, was reluctant. What do you mean? I'm not going to pay your people to get trained. Some of the people on the team were consultants. They were contractors. Why would they pay contractors to train? It's crazy. But here's the deal. They were able to then do things like they experimented with something they called toast notifications in the user interface. These toast notifications popped up little helper hints in the application that they were building. It greatly improved the business's ability to respond to errors and to anticipate errors in the code and the forms that they were filling out online. So what wound up happening is the business giving this team space to experiment resulted in a much improved user interface for that business team's application. It's surprising, but that's the kind of thing that may not be obvious at the time. Now, after we were about 2 years into this project, we were converting a huge accounting system, financial system, over from mainframe to .NET, which is a big deal. We got a new director at the Department of Transportation, and he killed the training. And then about half the team left because they didn't like the environment they were in. But you understand now that it's a two-way deal. So the first Friday that Teresa was talking about, she had to get her business teams on board to allow for that time. It seems counterintuitive sometimes. Why would you pay consultants to train? It's crazy. Other examples. Did that ring anybody else up? We've got about 5 minutes left. I'm here. I'm willing to answer any questions. Anything you share with me, I think the group would benefit from. Questions? Ideas? Thoughts? Okay. Okay, guys, I'll give you a few minutes back. I'll be up here. You guys can come up and talk to me if you do. You have something you want to ask that you do want to share with the whole group. Thank you very much for your time today. Please fill out the poll.